views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Of the country's approximately 100 million full-time employees, 51% aren't engaged at work, meaning they feel no real connection to their jobs. That's according to a Gallup study on the American workplace. Coming up on this edition of Perspectives, we explore workplace happiness and what you can do to improve your satisfaction level at work. That plus more next on Perspectives with yours truly, Daren Jaime.
What's on your mind?
Let 'em know.
What's on your mind? What's on your mind?
Let 'em know. Anything relevant to life, you bring it to the table. Whether you make a move solo or a movement with a stable. No fables, you speak on your decisions. Cause in the long run, it's your voice, your views, your vision. Keeping it real with many messages for you to know. This ain't radio, but DJ runs the show. Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it. The host with the most would handle any topic. Don't forget to share your perspective with shines of light. Cause it might make a difference in someone else's life.
Make a difference.
What's your perspective?
Express what's in your heart and your mind. Share your perspective.
What's your perspective?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Perspectives. I am Daren Jaime. Of course, we are glad to have you sharing with us. As always, you can check us out every week here on Perspectives. That's BronxNet Channel 67. And then also check us out on social media. You can hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, my professional page, Daren C. Jaime. And you can talk about what you want to see, share your perspective, and get some inspiration as well. Coming up on this edition of Perspectives, we are talking about jobs. Yes, the U.S. economy added 103,000, I should say, jobs in March, maintaining a steady track of growth. This, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics report. But as job seekers and employees welcome this fact, there's also a small elephant in the room. Many workers are still not completely happy in the workplace. And the question is, are you one of those employees? And what can you possibly do to change your work happiness level? Well, here to give us some professional answers and advice is executive coach and career strategist Elizabeth Koraca, and she also works with business executives, journalists, entrepreneurs, and other professionals, helping to boost their job performance. She also is a former Reuters TV anchor and, most of all, a former BronxNet TV reporter right here with us. And Elizabeth, welcome back.
Thank you, Daren. It's so wonderful to be here. I always love coming back to BronxNet.
Good. Got to wish you a happy birthday, too.
Thank you. Yes, today is the big day.
Today's the big day. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
So we talked a little bit about these numbers, and they are really startling to find out that 51% of people really at work just don't like work. That's, people say that's uncommon, but it is really common.
It is, and a recent bank rate survey also states that out of the people that they surveyed, your average American worker is only giving their job satisfaction a 7 out of 10. And to me, that is just not good enough. You want to try to be as close to a 10 out of 10 most of the time.
Mm-hmm. So people got to ask the real question, am I happy at work? And is that a question that really we should ask? Because some people are just working just to get through. I'm doing it because I need a check. But a lot of people are just not happy.
You always want to check in with yourself. You want to avoid that black downward spiral of misery that we can all get sucked into when we're not happy at our jobs.
So if I'm not happy at my job, what are the things, or what are some of the warning signs to say, listen, I'm clearly not happy here?
Okay, so what you really want to do, I've got 3 main points that you want to assess and then take action on. And number 1 is really get clear. Get clear on what you like and what you don't like about your job, what makes you happy and what makes you unhappy, and start to make a list of all those things. Then number 2, you want to take that list and set some goals around that. What do I want my career to look like this year? What are the things that I want to accomplish this year? And then from there, it's going to help give you more clarity and direction on how to move forward, how to be happier. And step 3, what are you going to do with that information? How are you going to make the change? Perhaps it's speaking to a manager or a boss about how to make these changes. I want to do more of this, but not this. But also make it easy for your boss. If you're asking for change that's going to benefit you, come with the solution to make it easy for your boss to say yes to you.
Is that a problem? Because a lot of times, I deal with this in my day-to-day, that everybody wants to come with a problem. Nobody really wants to present a solution.
Yes.
It's easy to tell somebody what the problem is.
Yes, and I see this in my business all the time when I'm working with people, when I'm coaching people. You know, when you're asking for something, you want to come with a solution. Like I just said, like you want to make it easy for whomever you're speaking to, whomever you're asking to say yes. And maybe what's in it for them? What benefit is in it for them? So try to also kind of weave in a benefit that person might also be reaping.
Yeah, reaping the benefit. So there are a lot of people out there that qualify themselves as disgruntled employees. How would you define a disgruntled employee?
You know, somebody that is angry, somebody that is bitter, somebody that feels potentially resentful about their job, about their work scenario, about their situation. So if you are that person, you really want to tap into that and find out what is going on. Where is the anger coming from? Is it actually coming from the people at work? Or is it coming from home? Am I really unhappy at my home situation? Because it's very hard to achieve a 9 or a 10 out of 10 on work satisfaction scale if you're unhappy at home. Maybe there's been a death, maybe there's an illness, maybe you're going through a divorce. You're gonna have a really hard time being happy at work when you've got all that going on at home as well.
So that's really powerful, because you're talking about unhappy people at home can definitely come to work and make a real unhappy environment.
Yes, yes. So you want to try to separate as much as possible. And when you are going through those types of traumatic situations, sometimes work is a really nice escape. So you want to try to separate and divide. While I'm here at work, I'm going to try my best to give my 100% attention to this job, be engaged, and then when I get home, deal with that situation then.
All right, take a quick break. We'll come back, talk a little bit more with Elizabeth. How to improve workplace happiness. People want to work. You certainly want to be happy when you go to work. So Elizabeth's going to continue to help us so that way we can be a little bit more happier at work and get the much needed tips that some of us really need to get. Stay with us. We'll come right back in a few.
And I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. My love, my love, my love, she keeps me warm. 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 She keeps me warm.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Love is kind. Love is patient.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
And we're back here on Perspectives. Daren Jaime here with you. Our guest in studio, Elizabeth Koraca. She is a strategist who can help us in this situation called workplace unhappiness. And yes, she's also executive coach and career strategist. We're glad to have her sharing with us, letting us know a little bit more about what it is so that way we can improve our happiness in the workplace. And if you've ever had disgruntled employees, and some of us work with them, and some of us are in a disgruntled environment, and you just need some clarity. So she's been here sharing with us and getting us clear on what it is that we need to do. And I wanted to talk about this because a lot of people come to work unhappy. And there's some things that you have to do as a person when you come to work to make the difference. So let's talk about me. I'm a disgruntled employee. What are some of the things that I've done? I mean, you've outlined 3 things too, but what else could I do to really try to shift the atmosphere?
Okay. Well, I would say really ask yourself, am I happy with my current job situation? Do I want to be here? Do I want to be here in this business or in this company, right? So you really want to think about, am I in the right job? Do I enjoy what I do? Okay, so if you enjoy what you do, but you're really unhappy in your current situation, you know, you want to try to look for other openings within the company. See, maybe you could be transferred. If you really know that you don't want to work for that company, it's time to start looking. You know, the more you take action, action dissipates fear and anxiety. So the more you take action in trying to find that new job or move to a different department, the better, more in charge and more in control you're going to feel. Because there's nothing worse than feeling powerless.
Because when you work, you feel like the job has control over you. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. But what you're encouraging people to do is you have to take control of your situation. Now, when I'm at work, sometimes there's a situation where I need to make this ask, you know, whether it's for more money, whether it's for vacation, whether it's for, you know, something that's going to make my job a whole lot smoother. But sometimes people are afraid to ask. Give me something on what do I need to do to improve that ask.
Okay, so what I talk to my clients about, when you're feeling fearful about asking for what you want, what are you worried about? Ask yourself, what am I so worried about? We don't get what we don't ask for. So if you don't ask for it, most likely you're not going to get it. But you want to be strategic if you're going to ask for a raise or more vacation or something else. You want to make sure that you're being seen kind of at a high level, or your boss is happy with you. You've just accomplished something. You've just done a great job with a client or on a presentation. That could be the time to ask. And also check in with your boss or manager's mood. If their boss has just come down on them and they're upset or angry, or they just realize that and someone has told them their vacation has been canceled, that's not the time for you to ask for what you want.
Yeah, because sometimes people make that big mistake. I often say that it's like the guy who goes to the judge. You know, if the judge has the last bad person, has really come out on the other guy before, you don't want to go right after that. You want to be on the best possible behavior. Behavior at the workplace is also very important too, right? And sometimes we can miss our happiness, if you will, just by our own behavior. What are some of the things that we can do in terms of shaping our behavior in an environment that isn't so comfortable? Because some people are working in environments right now and it's just not comfortable. So what do I do to improve my behavior in that, or to at least get me a level of calm in the middle of a storm?
Okay. Well, first things first, you want to make sure you have a supportive environment. You want to feel supported by your boss and, for the most part, your colleagues. We don't live in a perfect world, so most likely not all your colleagues are going to support you. That said, you need somewhat of a supportive environment to thrive. If you don't have that, you need to work on ways to get there. You know, when it's time for your work review, perhaps maybe it's every quarter, you know, you want that feedback. How am I doing? What can I do to improve my situation? And at that time, might also be a good time to ask for what you want, because that's usually expected during quarterly reviews.
The big question, the raise. Everybody wants one. Everybody needs one. But when is the right time? When is not the right time? How should I shape that? Because a lot of people are not happy simply because we haven't seen a raise in a while.
Well, you want to do your research first. What are your counterparts? What are your colleagues making at your firm, at your business, and elsewhere in the industry? So you want to make sure you have all the facts first. Then you want to make sure you collect kind of accolades. Maybe you've gotten an email from a client that has said, oh, you know, Daren, you've done this great job. So start to collect that positive feedback that you might have. Then you want to schedule the conversation with your manager. You could potentially wait till your review, or let them know that you want some feedback from them. You're looking to improve. You're really enjoying the position. You know, I just want some feedback. And during that feedback, should the conversation be going well, your boss is in that good mood, he or she is happy with your performance, at that point is the time to ask. And during that conversation, you want to weave in and out the accolades that you've maybe gotten from clients or customers and some other great feedback. So you're weaving in and out and reminding your boss all the great things you've done this past year, because don't assume your boss or manager is going to remember everything you've done.
Right.
You are not their priority. You're just not.
You're just an employee.
There's other people. Other people are reporting into them.
Right.
Your boss has got their own pressures.
It comes a time in everybody's career where you just have to move on. And that becomes the hardest step, especially when you've been in a place for a minute and you've gotten and grown comfortable. What advice do you give for people about when they should know it's time to move on?
If you're really, really unhappy, and it's not just because you're dealing with a tough situation at home, if you're feeling drained, you've got low energy, you're uninspired, you don't necessarily feel like you have the right support system at work, you generally feel like you might be going down that spiral of misery that we've all been down. So you want to stop. You want to take action. You want to feel like you're in charge and in control. And by doing that, you take action. So you set a plan for yourself. You write it down. What am I going to do first? First, I'm going to figure out what is it I want to do. Do I want to continue in this type of position, or do I want to venture out elsewhere? Then, how am I going to make this happen? I'm going to start talking to people, start networking, going to networking events. Let people know that you're looking, and be crystal clear with what you're looking for. The easier you make it for your audience to understand what you're asking for, the easier it is for them to say yes to you. Make it easy for people to say yes to you.
And that's very important. Sometimes just being very direct about what you what you want. What are some of the common mistakes that people make?
Mistakes, I mean, it's probably sitting in a job where you feel miserable and that it affects your entire life. It affects your home life. You're feeling low energy. You're angry. You're snapping at family members. People are like, oh, people are walking on eggshells. You never want to make people feel that way. And often that happens when we don't take action and we feel powerless. And then we get angry. So you really want to avoid that. And you can just take small steps to start to figure out what I want to do. And then small steps on taking action, starting to talk to people. Who can help me? Who can help me find a new job? Which friends always support me? Colleagues, mentors, people in your industry. Take action.
Take action. All right, listen, we got to take a break. We'll come back with more with Elizabeth as we are talking about workplace happiness, how to improve it, how to get the most and maximize your workplace experience. Stay with us. We'll come right back with more on Perspectives right after this.
Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Back here on Perspectives, Daren Jaime here with you, and we are continuing our conversation with Elizabeth Koraca, talking about workplace happiness, what to do to maximize the best in the workplace. And I want to go back to something we talked about earlier, because for some people it's time to move on, and we just don't know, or we do know. The reality is we do know, but we just don't want to take the right steps. So let me go here with that one, because many times you already feel it in here. It's coming to an end, but we've got some factors on the inside that prevent us from doing that. So walk us through a little bit more.
Okay, so you want to look for warning signs when you're about to be, laid off, okay? And when I work with my clients, I see the pattern over and over. The warning signs are there. You're getting negative and bad feedback repeatedly throughout the year from your boss or your manager. You don't seem to be making improvements. You start to potentially be getting the cold shoulder from management. They're pulling things away from you, projects. All of a sudden, you used to know what was going on, and now you feel like you're an outsider, okay? At that point, when that starts to happen, okay, I would definitely ask for meetings, ask for feedback, let the person know that you want to give it your best, you enjoy, you're grateful for this opportunity. But if it continues to happen, and you don't feel like you're on the inside anymore, you want to take action to feel like you're in charge and you're in control to get a new job. Don't be in denial about it. We've all got that gut feeling. And maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised and you don't end up getting laid off or fired. But chances are, when you've got that feeling, take action. Start looking for a new job. Again, start thinking about who can help me. Which friends can help me? Which former colleagues can help me? And again, thinking about, what do I really want to do? Do I want to continue in this field? Or would I like to try something new?
And you've often talked about, getting to the place of being unhappy and when once you're fired, laid off, because we use the nice word laid off, right? But it's fired, man. And fired feels bad.
Oh, it feels bad. We've all been there. It feels bad. It feels bad. And it's easier to get a job when you have a job. That's just the reality of the situation. So, and nobody likes to say, I was laid off or I was fired. But the reality is that it happens. And just because it hasn't happened to you doesn't mean it won't happen. Right. And just because it's happened once to you doesn't mean, well, it happened once. Sometimes people say to me, happened once. What are the chances it could happen again? Chances, yeah.
Chances are.
Yeah, chances are it could happen to you.
Right.
So you really want to make sure that you're ahead of it. You're ahead of the game. You take action. You're not in denial. You're moving forward to figure out, how can I get out of here?
And once a person is fired, laid off, we know the emotional, and there's a huge emotional side to that, because there's depression, anxiety, fear.
Low
these
self-esteem.
These things
Yes.
kick in.
Yes, because our value is tied up with what we do for a living and the income, the money that we make. That is the way society is structured. So if this does happen and you do get laid off, and there were no warning signs, or whether there were, remember, this happens to almost everyone. You are not alone. And it doesn't mean that you're not good at what you do just because you got let go. You want to talk to other people that have been in the same boat as you. And you want to reach out to those people, because those people are very likely to help you, because they remember how bad it felt. Because sometimes you're singled out.
Right.
You could be the only person, or maybe even a few people in the firm. But what about all your other friends and all your other family members that have jobs? We start to compare ourselves. Do not compare yourselves to others. You want to find that supportive environment in those times of when we do get fired and laid off.
And really recovering from that could be a rough. It takes people sometimes months. Years.
Yes, it depends on how long it takes to find a job. And that's why I tell people, when you start to get that feeling of, I might get let go, or I'm really unhappy in my job and I want to make a change, do it right away. Even small steps. Once you get that momentum, you're going to get faster and faster with moving forward and trying to make that change.
It's awesome. Elizabeth's been giving us some great tips on really helping us in the workplace happiness, and really taking ownership. And I think that's a big thing, right? You have to take ownership of where you are and who you are. And I think that the major thing that we've talked about a lot, or heard a lot about today, is really getting in front of it. And getting in front of it is paramount.
It is. You have to get in front of it. And like I've said multiple times, if you get in front of it, there's a sense of empowerment that you're in charge, not your boss, not your company, right? And you want to make sure that you're taking action to do that. And like I said, like that feeling you're getting that maybe it might not be time for you, or maybe it is time for you to move on. But I can remember being unhappy in a job situation, and I really wanted a title change. A colleague of mine got a title change. We did something similar. I felt like I know my clients were happy. I was doing a good job. The team was happy. So I approached it to my boss, who I did not feel supported by, but you don't get what you don't ask for. So I said to him, I reminded him of what the great things I was doing, great client feedback. I said, I'd really like to have a title change. When do you think we could make this happen? I'll never forget it as long as I live. He sat back at his chair. He put his head back and he laughed, ha, 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 ha. He said, Elizabeth, when you get more clients, then we'll talk about a title change. And I never forgot it because, A, it felt horrible. B, I wasn't in charge of getting new clients. I was just in charge of keeping the clients happy. But it wasn't my role. So I felt like it was very out of my control. And I was unhappy at that point anyway. But what was great about that moment was I got clarity. I knew I no longer wanted to work for this person. I knew there was no other opportunities at that company.
Right.
So then I took action. I took massive action because I was so upset. I was so angry. It just fueled this force in me to move forward and get the heck out of there. And that's what I did.
Amazing. And that's what people have to do, get in front of it. And if you're feeling uncomfortable, make the adjustment. But there's some honesty involved. There's a self-assessment that's involved that you have to really take a look at self and say, where am I? And look and see what you can do, because that's the most important thing. You are in control of the situation. I think that's what we have to say. Elizabeth, we are out of time.
Oh, no, I always love coming and talking to you, Daren.
Got to come back again.
For sure.
All righty. Elizabeth Koraca, our guest here. And listen, talking about workplace happiness, and the most important thing, as we said throughout the course of this whole show, is it really starts with you and it ends with you as well. Take control of the situation, get in front of it, and see if your workplace environment cannot become better. For all of us here on the Set of Perspectives, I'm Daren Jaime. Thanks for watching. Until next time we meet, stay safe, share your perspective with somebody else, because you never know, it just might make a difference in somebody else's life. Take care.
Let 'em know.
What's on your mind?
Let 'em know.
What's on your mind? What's on your mind?